How has God used a season of waiting to prepare your heart for something greater?
Hmm. That question, it really it gets right to the core of something deeply human, doesn't it? And spiritual too, waiting.
Hmm.
It's just something we all go through, and it's often, challenging, difficult.
Yeah.
You get that feeling sometimes that time is just slipping away. Or maybe even being wasted.
Absolutely. Those times when you just feel stuck,
Yeah.
completely stalled, or the path ahead is foggy, you can't see it.
Hmm.
And the things you're hoping for, praying for, they just aren't showing up. Not on your schedule anyway.
Right.
It can make you feel really frustrated, you know, like you're being held back unfairly or delayed for no good reason.
And that feeling, that deep discomfort we have with just being still, with uncertainty, that's exactly why waiting is often seen as, well, one of the toughest spiritual disciplines.
Toughest, yeah.
Because it kind of strips away our sense of control, doesn't it?
It really does.
It makes us face our own impatience,
Hmm.
our doubts, all those anxieties about what's next or what isn't next.
Yes.
Yes.
It puts you in this spot where you can't just do something. You can't fix it. You can't push it forward. You're just vulnerable. You're just there, wherever you are, wishing you were somewhere else. It feels like the opposite of productive.
Exactly. And yet,
Yeah.
here's where the spiritual view offers this completely different take. A radical reframe, really.
Okay.
The deep truth here is that these periods, these, let's call them waiting rooms, they're not meant as punishment. They're not just empty stretches of time. They are actually divinely purposed places, places for intense preparation.
Preparation, even when it feels totally stagnant or like you're losing ground. I mean, that goes against everything we think about progress and, efficiency.
It flips the whole script. The idea is the pause isn't some kind of mistake in the plan. It's intentional. It's meaningful, even if we can't see how in the moment. And,
Yeah.
this isn't some new self-help idea. It's ancient wisdom. There's this powerful verse in Lamentations, chapter 3, verses 25 to 26. It says, "The Lord is good to those whose hope is in him, to the one who seeks him. It is good to wait quietly for the salvation of the Lord."
It is good to wait quietly.
Wow. Just that phrase. It feels like the perfect antidote to all that frantic energy waiting usually stirs up in us.
Doesn't it?
It connects waiting with hope.
Yeah.
And with actively seeking something deeper, not just sitting there passively.
Yes, exactly. It shifts waiting from just, enduring something missing to this active posture of seeking with hope.
Mhm.
It suggests that God's goodness is right there in the waiting, not just after it's over. For those who keep their hope fixed and keep seeking him.
Okay, but
Yeah.
practically speaking, how does this preparation actually happen? What's going on under the surface when waiting feels so hard?
Well, what's fascinating is how the growth is described. It suggests that the very things that make waiting feel awful, the silence from God, maybe the uncertainty about the future, being forced to be still.
They don't actually wear down your faith. That's what we often fear, right? That the waiting will just erode everything.
Totally.
But this perspective says the opposite. It says those hard things actually compel faith to dig deeper, to find a stronger foundation.
Oh, interesting. So it's kind of like a tree.
Yeah.
When the ground is dry, the roots have to push down further deeper to find water.
That's a perfect analogy, exactly. When all the easy answers or your sense of control are taken away, you're forced to rely more deeply on trust itself.
Mhm.
Trust in a purpose you can't yet see. Trust in a timing you don't set. Trust in a goodness that's still there, even when things are difficult. And leaning into that trust, well, it builds something solid. Resilience. It roots your faith in something much more stable than just, good circumstances or getting what you want right away.
Okay.
And this leads to really profound spiritual growth, maturation. Often uncomfortable, yes, but so valuable.
That makes a lot of sense when you lay it out like that. But man, when you're actually in it, feeling that uncertainty, that lack of control, it's just so hard to see it as growth. Do we have real stories, examples of how this plays out, where the waiting itself really was the catalyst?
Oh, absolutely. I think the power of this really comes alive when you hear about people's actual experiences. The outline we looked at shares a couple of really moving ones.
Okay.
The first is about a young couple down in Texas. They were facing that incredibly painful struggle of infertility for 7 years.
Wow. 7 years.
Yeah.
That's such a long time to be waiting for something so deeply desired. I can only imagine the cycles of hope and grief month after month. the strain.
It was incredibly hard. They talked about how that long wait really stretched their marriage sometimes almost to breaking point, but interestingly, it also pushed them into a much deeper prayer life than they'd ever had. It was this constant process of bringing their hopes, but also their fears, their anger, their disappointments, just laying it all out. Their trust was tested over and over. But looking back on it later, they shared something really powerful, they said. The wait didn't weaken our faith, it strengthened it.
That's incredible. To go from feeling like the weight is crushing you
Yeah.
to seeing how it actually forged something stronger in you.
Precisely. And what came after those 7 years is so important. Doors started opening for them to pursue adoption.
Ah,
And looking back, they felt so strongly that the waiting, as difficult as it was, wasn't just some random delay before they could become parents. It was actually the necessary process that prepared their hearts, prepared their marriage for the specific journey of adoption they were meant to take.
so the difficulty wasn't pointless. It actually served this crucial purpose of getting them ready.
Yes, it wasn't just a hurdle, it was the shaping ground. The wait wasn't just delaying the destination, it was part of what shaped them for it.
Shaping them into the specific parents those children needed.
Exactly. It's about that refining that happens, in the fire of waiting. There's another really powerful story, too. A high school graduate in Nairobi, Kenya.
Okay.
She finished school, ready for university, but then faced this huge roadblock. Financial hardship meant she couldn't go for
Well.
3 years.
3 years. While probably all her friends were moving on, starting their studies. That feeling of being left behind must have been immense.
Discouraging. Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. It could easily have turned into bitterness or just feeling like she was losing precious time.
Hmm.
But she made a choice, a really conscious choice about how she was going to handle that waiting room.
What did she do?
Instead of just, sitting and fuming or feeling lost, she decided to use that time with purpose. She started mentoring younger kids in her neighborhood. And then she even launched a little community tutoring program.
Wow. So she poured that energy, that time, into serving others, even while her own dreams were on hold.
Yes. And her reflection on that time is just, it gets right to the heart of what we're talking about. She said, the delay gave me a mission before the degree.
A mission before the degree. That really turns our usual thinking upside down, doesn't it?
Completely.
We tend to think, okay, get the education, get the career, then maybe you find your mission. But for her, the delay itself opened up the space, maybe gave her the perspective to find this immediate vital purpose right where she was.
It totally redefines what productive time even means. Her most significant mission in that season wasn't something she had to wait for the degree to start. It grew directly out of the circumstances of the delay.
Right.
And both these stories, they just highlight this core idea. These pauses, these delays, they aren't just random glitches in our plans. From a faith perspective, they're seen as part of God's timing.
Divine timing.
Yes, a divine schedule. But
Yeah.
maybe not one that's just about getting things done efficiently. It's a schedule designed for our deepest good, for our spiritual growth and development.
So trusting that timing,
Yeah.
it isn't just about sitting back and waiting for the light to turn green, metaphorically speaking.
No, not passive.
It's more like actively believing that this season, right now, even if it's painful or confusing, is exactly where you need to be for some kind of preparation to happen.
Yeah.
And believing the next step, the breakthrough, whatever it is, will come when that preparation is, well, complete.
That's the heart of it, yes. It's cultivating this belief, this trust that the timing that's unfolding, even if it feels agonizingly slow or makes zero sense from where you stand, is actually perfect for your journey. The real work, the deep shaping, the growth that happens during the delay, it's not lost time, it's invested time.
That perspective, it really changes the feeling of waiting, doesn't it? It shifts it from being this heavy burden, this feeling of being stuck, to maybe an opportunity for growth, for discovery.
Yeah.
It gives the struggle itself meaning.
And that leads us right into what might be the most challenging idea in all of this, but maybe also the most freeing. It's a thought that sounds like a paradox at first glance.
Okay.
Sometimes the delay is the destination.
Sometimes the delay is the destination. Let's sit with that for a second. That suggests the waiting period itself isn't just the inconvenient road you have to travel to get somewhere important,
Right.
but that the waiting, the delay itself, might actually be the place God intended you to arrive at least for that season.
Precisely that. It means the main point wasn't just about getting past the wait as fast as possible. The main point, the destination in that sense, was the profound shaping, the spiritual formation, the learning that could only happen within the context of that specific delay.
Wow.
Think about the Texas couple. Yes, becoming parents was a destination. But the 7 years of waiting, the character and trust built during that time, that was also a critical destination.
Right, this destination of becoming.
Yes. And the Nairobi graduate. Getting to
Yeah.
university was a goal, a destination. But discovering her heart for service, her leadership skills during that 3-year delay, that was also a vital destination that shaped her whole future path in ways she never expected.
So it's about who you become while you're waiting, the journey itself being the point, in a way.
Exactly. And this ties straight into another powerful truth that goes hand in hand with it. God doesn't waste time. He redeems it.
Redeems it.
Yes.
Meaning he takes what feels like wasted time, to us, unproductive, frustrating, maybe even lost time, and he somehow transforms it,
Yeah.
repurposes it, gives it value.
That's the essence of redemption, isn't it? That's the miracle believed to be at work. Every moment, even the ones that feel empty or stagnant, is being woven into a larger story. It's being used
Used for what, though?
for building character, for giving you new perspectives you wouldn't have gained otherwise, for teaching you deep reliance, for uncovering strengths you didn't know you had, or maybe just for positioning you perfectly for something amazing down the road that you can't even see yet. So what looks like empty time from our limited view is actually being redeemed, filled with divine purpose. And it's changing you, transforming you from the inside out.
So even though waiting is still going to be hard, let's be real, it's not suddenly easy.
No, not at all.
This whole perspective invites us to actively look for the purpose within it, to try and see the divine intention, the hidden gifts, the growth that might be happening, even amidst the struggle, to find meaning, maybe even moments of quiet joy, right there in the waiting room.
That is the profound invitation, yes, to shift our focus. Instead of just lamenting the wait, we're invited to try and discern its purpose. To start seeing the waiting room not as a punishment block, but maybe as like a sacred workshop.
Oh, workshop, I like that.
Yeah, a
Yeah.
place where you're being prepared, where your faith is sending down deeper roots, where you might stumble upon a mission you never planned, or where your heart is being stretched and shaped for something far greater, far more beautiful than you first imagined. It's definitely not easy. But changing the perspective, it changes everything.
It really does. It takes what feels like just a hard slog, a tough spiritual discipline, and reframes it as this incredible opportunity for deeper connection, deeper trust, and growth we couldn't have planned for. It's a powerful way to think about something we all experience.
It shifts the focus, doesn't it? Away from just the discomfort of the delay and onto the transformative power that might be hidden within that delay.
Yeah, this deep dive, it's really pushed back against how we usually think about waiting. The message feels really clear. Waiting isn't just wasted time. It's purposeful. It's preparation. It's spiritual growth happening.
Right. And that core idea, the one to maybe really hold on to when you find yourself in one of those seasons, it's this. Sometimes the delay is the destination. God doesn't waste time. He redeems it.
It's a truth that really asks us to look beyond our own schedules, our own desire for control, and to trust that there's a deeper purpose unfolding, even when we can't see it.
And it brings us full circle, really, right back to the question we started with.
How has God used a season of waiting to prepare your heart for something greater?